how do you pull it out of a guy, coach, to get to that place to say, listen, man, you need more work to do. You need more development, but you got to do this. The onus is on you. Like, we can only do so much, right? We can only do so much. And I want to talk to you a little bit about, like I was talking about this preseason. Okay.
Yeah.
Some guys, obviously, the first team's only getting a certain, they're only getting, 11 snaps here and there. Well, it's only a small sample size that people see. And then, of course, everybody's looking at them and they killing them. Oh, my gosh, you look terrible, 11 snaps. And I'm just like, listen, we got a young guy who's still trying to develop. It's his second year. I'm like, there's a difference between game speed, physicality, and, being in shape that there is as far as in practice. And like back in our day, we can get 2-a-days in practice and you could get ready. You can get ready at the first of the season. But now, because the NFLPA, which is, they did the right thing, you only can have so many padded practices. You can only have so many things you can go live. And so what you do see in preseason is, oh man, let me say it in a nice way, maybe a lack of production, put it mildly. What do you think about that?
Well, I think you hit the nail on the head a little bit, because you were talking about reps.
Yes.
How do you get better? You get better with reps. The more reps the player has at doing his job, the better he can become. Now, when they cut back on the contact, okay, they cut back on the time, they took a lot of the reps away from guys. Hey, yes. You go 2-a-days. Okay, so practice in the morning, practice in the afternoon, that's a lot of reps. Now you don't have that. Okay.
Right.
And then the other thing is, hey, and I understand why they do what they do, all right, about contact. Well, yes. There's no real contact in practice anymore, all right? And the contact comes in the game. All right. Now, maybe if there were a little more contact, I'm not advocating, go wild or anything like that.
Sure.
But maybe you wouldn't see some of the injuries that we are seeing now in the preseason. All right. I mean, because when you hit, you get used to being hit. All right.
Sir.
That. But when you don't hit, you're not used to it. But now you go out there in the game and you're going 100 miles an hour, and you never go 100 miles an hour in practice anymore. All right. And so that might have something to do with it. Now, I understand the safety deal and putting the covers on the helmets and practice in shorts and all of that. And everybody's doing it. So no one technically has an advantage. Okay. Right. But you have to look at some of the results of all of those things that are going on.
Man, Coach, you sitting over here telling the truth now. People like telling the truth. Hey, shoot.
Hey, I'm retired.
I hear you. That's right. That's the reality of it. I say that all the time. For you to be a tough team, Coach Grimm used to say this all the time. To be a tough team, you got to practice tough. Okay. You want to be a physical team, you got to practice physical.
That's right.
And so there's no getting around it. This is a physical sport. Okay. You're looking at production. And I said the people that are hurt most by this, Coach, are the linemen. The linemen are the ones that hurt most by this, because, we were talking about our young left guard. Okay. He was our second round pick last year. He was supposed to be our starting left tackle, moved him down to left guard. And so he's at a point where I was trying to explain to people, like, okay, they did a 10-play drive. Okay. And I said, first off, the man did a 10-play drive. Okay. Number two, all the adrenaline that's going through his body at the time. All right. 3, this is something that he hasn't seen in practice fully, where he has to push on the body, move a man against his will. Okay. And the other guy's trying to rip his throat out. Right. And they get paid too. So if there's some things he's messing up technique wise, I said some of his feet look like a little bit of tiredness to me. And then, oh, Jason, why is he tired? He's been. I said, listen, I don't think y'all quite understand what playing in a game like live is different than it is in practice. Okay.
Right.
Guys take care of each other in practice, coach. You know how it is. And hey, man, we're going to get
Sometimes, yeah. That's
Yeah,
right.
right. Nice little rep. But like you said, more reps puts him in a better position he could possibly be in. And so if you're sitting over here and he's limited because now you got 90-something bodies, you're trying to get a practice in 2.5 hours, 2 hours? Come on. Now you're really limited about the type of reps you're going to be able to get in. Correct?
Correct.
Yeah.
And so now then what they have to do is they got to take some initiative to try to work their skills by themselves sometimes.
Yes.
Okay. And a perfect example in my mind, because I mentioned Lawrence Taylor.
Yes.
Brad Benson was our left tackle, all right, at the Giants. He had to go against Lawrence Taylor every day, all right? And so Brad, at that time, it wasn't as much 2-point stands for the offensive lineman. Right. It was hand on the ground and then get back. Well, he knew that if he didn't get back and get set versus Lawrence Taylor, he wouldn't have a chance. So at practice, before practice, I would see him in his stance taking his pass set and getting back and working on it to give himself the chance, okay? And that allowed him to be able to compete against Lawrence Taylor because he was able to get back and get set because he worked on it. Even just versus air, just getting back and get set, take the steps that he needs to step, And so players have to take some responsibility also in being able to help develop themselves, all right? If they're not going to let us hit, all right, or they're cutting down the number of reps, I got to do some extra running, all right? Before practice, after practice, during practice, I got to do more to keep myself in shape. All right. And they have to understand that.
That's right. And I think that's what people have to drive home. Right. And they're like, oh, coaches I said, but he's a professional. This is the NFL. This is a production-based business.
Yes.
He's got to take and understand I'm not far along as I should be. And so if I'm sitting over watching film and I know I'm behind, there's some other things I need to do. And so I think for a young guy, that's one of those things you have to drive home, right? You got to help him understand. Like, look, man, if your feet is not good, this is what you have to do. Like you were talking about the guard. You know who we used to do that all the time, Coach? Will Shields.
Okay, Will, yeah.
Will would always on the side, he'll be working on his technique. Moving it back. And you sitting there like, what? Will, you got 9 Pro Bowls. Why are you still doing this, right?
That's why he's got 9.
That's why he's got 9. That's right.
That's right.
So he's not sitting over there just, sitting on his laurels, and on his hands, I didn't do the work, now I'm going to sit back. He said no. And he told me his coach, and it's been absolutely true. He said, JD, he used to call me Thor, because I had my long dreads out. He said, Thor, he said, man, they try to replace you. Every single day they're trying to replace you. They're trying to find somebody younger that can speak, pay, less money to. Less money. He said, that's what they're trying to do. I said, man, Will, I said, no truer words have been spoken than that. And that's the reality of it. That's the reality.
Yeah. It's a competition business.
It's competition business. Look, competition is great for those guys. It's great. Yeah. But I think it is for the young guys to understand that. But I like what you said. As far as like just the development, they got to take some onus on themselves. Coaches can only do so much. I used to tell guys, look, I can't play for you. I can't do it. I can tell you the scheme of what I'm asking you to do. Now what I need for you to go out there and execute it. Okay.
Yeah. And
if you're not executing it to the way that I want you to, guess what? You're going to be sitting over here beside me. Okay.
That's it.
And look, we got enough people sitting in the stands, watching the game.
Hey, and if you're sitting beside me and not in the stands, you're costing me money because I can have somebody else that's doing a little bit better.
That's right. That's the truth. That is the truth. Man, just now for the preseason, we were just talking about the development of guys. What stake do you put into the preseason? If guys are getting beat, teams are getting beat, or is this more of a gauge and quantifying your scheme-wise, or is this more quantifying individually what guys are and who they should be?
It's both of those things. Okay. It's evaluating your scheme. It's evaluating how the players that you have fit in your scheme. Okay. And you're evaluating those players. Now you've got a set of veteran players that you know what they can do. And so all you got to do is kind of refresh those guys a little bit. But then these young guys, particularly these young draft guys who are on board and front office, they're going to want to see what they can do. Then you try to give them some time in the preseason, all right, to show what they can do so they can get a feel for the game. And when you had 4 preseason games, you had more time to get it done. But now with 3 preseason games, you don't have as much time to get it done. And I think that's one of the reasons that you see more inter-squad things happening in training camp, all right? Because you got teams working against each other, and they're kind of treating that like a preseason game, you know, because you're going against a different competition, and you're seeing different players. And so that's one way that teams can get that extra competition in. Because, I mean, we got the 3rd preseason game coming up, and that's the last preseason game right now.
That's it, right?
Yeah. So it's basically over.
Yep.
You know, and I know when we had 4, we could give the good guys 15 to 20 plays in the first quarter if it took that long. Okay, that's the first game. Second game, you could take them to the second quarter. Okay, third game, you can take them into the third quarter. Fourth game, you can rest them because you know that you're getting ready. And then all the young guys, they take all that 4th preseason game basically. All right. But so now you don't have as many games. You only got 3. And so now you got to try to find some way to get those extra reps. And so going against another team gives them those extra reps.
They were finding out, they were discussing the Bengals primarily, was talking about you could see a pattern because they went playing Burrows and Jamar Chase and those guys. They took them around about the 3rd or 4th game to really start getting their rhythm. It was like, they're not getting any work preseason. You know, they sitting over there with the change and, you know, they eating sunflower seeds, having a good time, waving up to the crowd. And, you know, and I'm like, man, like, I get it. These guys are making a whole lot of money. You don't want to get them hurt, right, over something silly in practice, but they still need to get some type of development. How do you get them to be tougher? How do you get them to be where when they start the season, they are rolling, right? We should be informed right now when the season starts and not wait till the 5th game.
It's hard to do if you don't play them. Okay.
Yeah.
It's hard to do if you don't play them. All right. So you got to play them and you try to manage their reps, like build them up, like we talked about. First quarter, then you get 2 quarters. Then we'll get into 3rd quarter. We might not give you all the 3rd quarter, but we're going to take you through the half. And now you're into the 3rd quarter. Okay. Now then you've got enough reps. Now you can determine in that 4th game if there's anybody that you need to see.
Yes.
Okay. And if you don't need to see anybody, then you play all the young guys in that 4th game. And now you have your veterans ready to go, more ready to go in the 1st game.
Yeah. Yeah.
And there's no easy answer to that because with practicing shorts, okay, no contact, it's just you got to work around it the best you can.
Yeah. And I think also, too, in their mind, because a couple of years ago, I remember looking on the sideline and there was $150 million on the sideline. Aaron Rodgers, Joe Burrow, and Justin Herbert was all on the sideline from injuries. And I'm like, that's $150 million watching
Yeah.
the game, right? So
and the owner, he doesn't want to see that. Okay, the fans, they don't want to see that.
They won't see that. No. So
hi everybody, thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, be sure to check out the best clips from Chief Concerns. And if you prefer to listen to the show, subscribe and follow us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and anywhere else you get your podcasts.